All right, time for another edition of Coach Speak. I'm growing to love this show, guys. I don't know about my two co-hosts, but I'm starting to love this show. That's Ira. There's Corey. Hopefully you guys are liking it too. It's always fun to hear from coaches. We love college football, and we love excuses, and we love anger and frustration and humor, and it's all there when we get into Coach Speak. So if you like the show, like it and share it and tell everybody about it. And by the way, the three of us cover Florida State, but you don't have to care about Florida State to like this show. You can just like college football and like to listen to coaches squirm. It's fun. It's a good time. So without further ado, our esteemed producer, Ben, will have the first clip for us. Who's up first, Ben?
What's up, guys? I feel like it's always good that we start off the show with a little Jimbo. I don't know how you guys feel, but
yes. All right. Love it.
I think we skipped him last week, so this will be good.
Yep. Okay, let's get to Jimbo Fisher.
And you mentioned the when there are calls that you don't agree with, do y'all make a video of them?
Yeah, we do. Send it in, and they tell us what they think is right or wrong, and we'll agree, disagree, and move on. I mean, and also how they're going to call it. And I send our guys in. If I think we committed a penalty and they didn't call it, I send it in. They say I'm the only one that does it, but
and do they oops, sorry, or
no? They just tell you they agree that was a missed call, and that wasn't a missed call. So,
thanks, Coach.
Y'all just don't get privy to all that,
down front.
Which they shouldn't, and I get it because officials take a heck of a beating anyway. I mean, guys get on them all. They don't mess up on purpose. Sometimes they mess up, but it is part of the game, man. It's they can affect it.
All right, so I'm gonna do this, guys, because it's too easy. You saw the eye shiftiness that goes on when Jimbo's lying.
I mean, what's the premise there? That is it just for the good of the game? Like, I'm going to send in clips.
Buddy.
So, hey, guys, as a teaching moment, you didn't catch us cheating on this play.
There's zero chance, Corey Clark, that man sends in penalties that they committed and inquires whether or not it was missed. Zero chance.
Do you guys remember that crazy commercial from about 10 or 12 years ago where they're playing the state championship game?
The sportsmanship thing.
The sportsmanship, and the kid admitted he touched it out of bounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid's basically Jimbo Fisher. That's Jimbo Fisher in a nutshell. That Jimbo would go, look, guys, you got this wrong. You got it wrong. We held on that play. That touchdown shouldn't have counted. He wants to do it in the middle of a game when he sees it.
That's what I'm wondering. When's he going to start doing that? Guys, that play didn't count.
Sometimes, and this goes back to when we covered him, he'll say something and you can see it wash over him immediately. That's not true. I just lied. Why did I just lie? I had no reason to lie. It just happened. Yeah. It's crazy because you'll see it. He'll be like, and then I told him that, what we're going to do. And then he'll say it and everybody kind of looks at him and goes,
yeah.
He starts looking around like he knows. Everybody knows it's not true.
He's like, they tell me I'm the only one that ever does it. Yeah, Jimbo, nobody else would ever do that. That's not the whole point of the process.
Like he dreams it. Like it's in a dream that he's done this. And they're like, Jimbo, you're the only person that ever does this. The thing is, there is, in my opinion, there is a chance he might, when he's sending in all his gripes, go, and by the way, we had 12 men on the field and you didn't see that. You guys were terrible, but that's not the spirit of what he's doing. He's not doing it to he's doing it to show them how, if he did it at all, it's to show everybody how awful to show the officiating chief awful the crew is.
I can see petty Jimbo saying, you guys suck so much, you didn't catch these blatant holds that we had or this pass interference that we had. Maybe if he's ever done it, that would have to be the way.
Yeah, and I think, by the way, the key there before we move on is, if he's ever done it, A, B, if he did, that's when, and it might have been 3 years ago, so now it's a catch-all. I send him in too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've done it. I'm the only one that's ever done it.
Just for the good of the game.
All right, Ben, coach number 2.
Hey, we heard from Kirk Ferentz. I think it was our first ever episode. The offense has not gotten better since then. They lost 31-0 to Iowa. A reporter asked if he was going to make any changes after that defeat.
Do you see any issues with what you're doing offensively, or is it just a matter of continuing to do the same thing?
We're not going to, create a new playbook. Is that what you're suggesting?
Or just even, I know that you aren't a fan of wholesale changes, but is there anything schematically that you think needs to change?
I'm not a wholesale believer in just changing because you had a bad game, and it was not a good game tonight. I think we've made progress in 3 weeks. Tonight was disappointing. Played a really good football team. We'll keep it in perspective. And we'll evaluate things over the course of 12 games. We still got 8 to play, so it's not ready to We got quality guys. We've made improvement. I think we're doing a lot of things really well. Not tonight necessarily, but no, we're not going to just start over again in any phase. I don't think we've ever done that.
Fellas, I do like the retort of create a new playbook.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, if you want to fire back at somebody, create a new playbook is pretty good. Now, it lacks perspective on the historical offensive struggles at Iowa under Kirk Ferentz, but it's still pretty funny.
It's also, and he knows the setting he's in. And this is, we talked about this before, but it might have been when we talked about him last time. College, the guy asking that question, my guess, is a college reporter. Like, he's somebody like Corey or I that we cover the team. You need to write features and notebooks. It's not like dealing with the New York media or the Philadelphia media in the NFL. So he knows that guy's not going to respond by saying, well, you could fire your son because he's clearly inept at running an offense, because that's not, I mean, we have a job to do. We have to come back the next day and do feature stories. So we can't act the way they do in a market like that, because, yeah, man, it's crazy how bad their offense is. And they just got shut out. I mean, it's not like they got shut out. It's not like they're a group of 5 team that got shut out. I mean, they're a team in their conference and they were inept. I think some of the numbers are crazy. I think they had like 20 yards in the second
That's
half.
what I was just looking up, because I wasn't being rude texting while y'all were talking. I was looking up the final score. So, yeah, obviously 0 points against Penn State. 76 total yards, 4 first downs. Four first downs in an entire football game, when your son has already been given this ridiculous parameters to keep his job because you don't want to fire the head coach's son. It's all just not. Just imagine being an Iowa football fan and watching that. You've had and look, they've been relevant-ish. They've been pretty good. They have an unbelievable defense.
Yeah.
But good grief, man. At some point, the dad, and Florida State fans kind of can relate, the dad holding the program hostage by keeping a son that doesn't belong in that position has to be infuriating. And so after the game, when the head coach is like, we're doing some things well, maybe not tonight. It's like, well, no shit, not tonight. You had 4 first downs on national TV, man.
My man, I think both of you, in this fierce effort to point out the ineptitudes of the offense, are overlooking the 41 points scored last week against Western Michigan.
Oh, that's true. So they're still
conveniently glance over the.
Well, that's right. Yeah. It doesn't that, Jeff? What is the number he has to hit?
25 per game.
25 per game. So, I mean, he got 41 and 0, so that's 20.5.
Yeah.
But he's still right there. He's still sniffing at the 25.
Well, if you'd like to know, for those counting at home, he scored 20 against Iowa State.
Okay, so -5.
And 24 against Utah State, but one of those was a defensive score.
It doesn't matter. Counts.
The problem is stop hiring your sons. Stop hiring your sons. Didn't work for Mike Bowden. Didn't work for Bobby Petrino. Didn't work for Mark Richt. It's not working for you. I mean, it's because it's the first thing everybody's going to turn to if things don't go well.
At least Bill Belichick hired his kid as like a linebackers coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't hire him to run an entire side of the ball.
Yeah, the only time we can really find the guys that are working out that were originally hired by their dads, I think Shanahan in the NFL worked out. That one's
working out all right.
That one's working out all right.
But they don't work together now.
Not anymore. Not anymore, yeah. Ben, what do we got here, baby?
We've got one of the favorites on the program, Dave Aranda of Baylor, up next.
Boy.
And reporters are still being mean to him, guys.
I'm getting a little nervous, but he appreciates that.
Whatever you are as a person, whoever you are, when you look at yourself in the mirror as a football coach, as a head coach, what has gone wrong? And how long will it take to fix it? You kind of answered that a little bit.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think we have to be able to look at, I appreciate the question. We have to be able to look at the things that we're not performing well in, and we have to, take any of the emotion out of it. And we have to look at, whether it's a coaching error or it's a personnel issue or it's a, we're asking too much here or we're not devoting enough time here. We have to get all the emotion out of it and just address the kind of the reality of it and fix it. And I think things like that can, it's as simple and as difficult as that, because a lot of times emotion gets into it. But
clearly with him,
I love the staff and I love the fact that they are all in and they want to address things and they don't hold back and they want to get better. And so I feel like that's the journey that we're on.
Don't you think that that's really the problem with Dave Aranda is like there's just too much emotion? Like that's if he could just tamper that down, I think everything would be okay.
It's like a modern day Sam Kinison. for a reference for the younger generation.
I'm very concerned, guys. I don't like where this is headed. Every time he talks, I get a little bit more uncomfortable.
I think that's him, right? He might have been like that when they were winning 11 games. I think that's just who he is.
I think so, and I don't think the people in the state of Texas
are real pleased with. Well, yeah, that one guy speaking for the people. The one guy, he's.
Yeah, he basically asked, "How do you look at yourself in the mirror as a football coach?" And he's like, "Hey, I appreciate that question.
He was one step away of saying, as being a resounding failure.
Yeah.
How do you feel as a human being about how it is you've cost us in the state of Texas?
Yeah, you look at yourself in the mirror with all that money you make.
I didn't realize Baylor football inspired that kind of I mean, I guess it does, but it's
just
built
it up here in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but that guy is acting like he's at Notre Dame.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean,
there's some real anger in the heart there, but guys, it's getting uncomfortable at Baylor.
Yeah.
I'm starting to. I feel like we should do an intervention and like just go support Dave Aranda. Like I want to go just give him a hug.
It wasn't thank him for what he does for our show.
Right. That's true.
Remember, he's in Waco, Texas, guys.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is going to end well.
He also that question hit him off stride because he forgot to say I appreciate it.
Yeah, but he circled back.
And he was so taken aback though. He's like, it didn't even occur to him to appreciate the question until he'd already started his answer. I wonder if he looked at himself in the mirror after that and go, Dave, you got to be better. You waited 6 words until you say I appreciate that question.
Given your dereliction of duty, sir, how would you say the team is going to get this turned around?
It's just funny to think about, like, again, I'm going to use a really old reference, but he's like that to us. He's like that to the camera, to the public. But what if in the locker room he is like just a fire and brimstone, slamming lockers, throwing helmets? It's like the Phil Hartman SNL skit when he's Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
and back to work. And he's like this old fool, but he's like, back to work. I just think there's a chance he's like that with that team, right? Maybe he raises his – there's no way he can
It's not
be
working,
like
Corey. Whatever it is, it's not working.
No, clearly. Texas took care of him.
All right, Ben. What do we got next, buddy?
I don't know if you guys saw this. Louisville played Boston College last weekend. They had a player do a cartwheel, an offensive lineman do a cartwheel to kind of distract from what was going on in the play. A reporter asked Dave Doran about that at NC State. They play Louisville this week, and he just was not having fun at all with it. Sorry, guys. Let me find it here. There we go.
JC? Who have you picked to do a cartwheel on the scout team? Did Kaden Smith or Rylan Van pull that off? And have you ever seen that before?
No. I haven't even thought about it, to be honest.
So I don't understand a point of taking a hard line on that. You had an offensive tackle at 330 pounds go woo and do a cartwheel. Like he actually made a sound. You can hear the audio. And he has to know he's going to be asked about that. It's funny. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Why would you not have fun with that?
Have you ever seen Dave Doran talk before?
I have, but I mean, like, you just had a player do a cartwheel in the middle of a play. How could you not expect to be asked by that about that?
Man, like, I get that he's a pretty good coach.
He is.
Not great, not elite, but he's pretty good. But as an NC State fan who's only been pretty good your whole lives, wouldn't you like somebody, if they're going to be 8 or 9 wins anyway, because that's what you always do, that's your ceiling, a little more charisma? Like, have a little fun. Like, look at that guy. That's your leader. That's the guy you're wanting to go cheer for, is the guy that can't even, like, for half a second, try to joke. It might have been a dumb joke, but that guy just, it's like Dino Babers 2.0. Like, there's no joy in him at all. Maybe he knows what's about to come.
Even
I don't know.
Bill Belichick makes jokes occasionally.
He made a joke about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, yeah, but not Dave Doran's all business.
I like the fact that the reporter thought that Dave Doran might have a funny
Yeah, that was a misstep.
Like, I was like, dude, is this your first Dave Doran press conference? This guy does not want joy in his life, and he doesn't want joy in anybody else's life.
Apparently. I mean, good God, man. I think all of the other reporters should have stuck up for the one reporter and be like, Dave.
Just answer the
Had
question.
a 330-pound man do a backflip.
Who's going to do it on your scout team? That should have been the whole rest of the press conference. Dave, we're not going to move on about your running attack until you tell us who's going to be the scout team backflipper.
We're not moving on. We're not moving on. You can shut it down if you want. We're not moving on. I would make him shut it down.
Answer the question, Dave. Answer the question.
What do we got next, big guy?
Guys, I still don't know how Notre Dame lost to Ohio State. That was a crazy game, and I'm sure you all saw they had 10 players on the field.
Twice.
Last play. Last couple plays, that is. So here's Marcus Freeman's explanation.
The film shows that on that last play, there were only 10 people on the field. Just curious what happened.
Yeah, we were trying to get a fourth D lineman on the field, and I told him just stay off because we can't afford a penalty. I didn't have any timeouts, right? So we couldn't afford a penalty there. And yeah, it's on us. We got to be better.
Okay. Look, number one.
He did come back and apologize, or he came back like later in the week and said, in his defense.
By the way, you can quickly retort there. You can afford a penalty.
Yeah.
You're at the 1 yard line. That gives them, it moves the ball this much.
Take the penalty and get your 11th player out there, coach.
Get 10 personal fouls if you want. The ball's going to move this much.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. It's half the distance to the goal line. I like that. It doesn't even to say we wanted to get an extra defensive lineman out there, but we didn't want the penalty. What's the penalty? Having too many defensive linemen? That's not a penalty. Having 11 men on the field? Was he saying that
if they snapped it while he's running and he's on this side of the line of scrimmage? Yeah. But the point is, I guess my thing is there are at least 10 minutes had elapsed between that happening and him realizing that just cost them the game and the biggest win of his career, and then going before the media. No, you got to think. I mean, he knows that question's coming. As he's drinking the water, you could tell him understanding the question is coming.
Oh, yeah.
But he never thought to come up with a better answer than maybe they'll believe this. Because then later in the week, he came back and said.
But also, it was 2 plays.
Yeah.
It was the last 2 plays.
Well, they circled back because they found the second one later. So here's what I'd say too is there's really no good answer there. Nothing that absolves you of responsibility for not having 11 men on the field in the biggest point of the game, and perhaps what would have been, as Ira suggested, the biggest win in his career. It's tough, but he could have rolled the used car salesman that is his defensive coordinator. He could have told Al Golden, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a toughie right there. That guy gets $2 million a year to not have 11 guys out on the field.
But isn't he technically, like, he runs the defense too? Like, he's a defensive coach, right? The point being, they had played awesome. They held a really good offense, we think. Just 7 points in the first 59. It's okay to say, yeah, we screwed up. We screwed up, and even explain it. This is why, or I don't know why. I'm devastated by it. It was ridiculous. We're going to fix it. Not just coming up with a nonsensical reason is what would bother me the most. Not just owning up to it, because when you own up to it, people will be like, and also they had 11 men on the field for the completion, right? The 3rd and 19 completion. So they ran someone off.
Well,
and nobody came on.
Now it's a goal line play, so you're going to put your big personnel in. But
right, so 4 guys came off and only 3 guys came on.
Yep.
Okay, there's math for you.
Hey, what we want here, and we want this for all coaches. I know that you guys hate having to admit when you're wrong to just reporters or fans alike, but when you screw up that badly, as soon as the question starts, yep, that's on me. It'll never happen again. Next.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know who did that great? Mark Richt. His first year at Georgia, they had the ball like the 3-yard line with no timeouts left, about to beat Tennessee, and he called a running play with Jasper Sanks. The great Jasper Sanks gets stuffed at the 1-yard line. They can't snap another play, and the game ends like that. And as he starts the press conference, he takes full blame, which of course he should. He called the play, but he's like, "Look, that was," he basically said, "That's all on me. It's not the players. I called that play. I thought we were going to score. In hindsight, that has to be a pass because if we get stopped like we did, we won't be able to snap the ball again." And fans were upset, but fans also were like, "Thank you."
All you can do.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe if I was a head coach, I would maybe hire somebody, a part of somebody's job, be my believability analyst, and you could try out your because there's no. He played that through his head. He thought that we couldn't afford a penalty there, guys.
I love the idea.
That bothers me the most.
They're going, do you buy that? Do you buy that? I'm getting ready to go out there, guys. I got to know. You guys
let me know. Is this going to fly?
Yeah. Does this work?
Because the next question has to be, what do you mean you couldn't afford a penalty? What you couldn't afford is them to score a touchdown with no time left. Like, you can afford for them to scoot the ball
10 penalties
6 inches towards the goal line.
You guys,
big guy.
You could have had your defensive lineman punching the other team's players in the face.
Or doing a cartwheel.
Yeah.
Just do a cartwheel in the backfield. Distract them.
Ben, what do we got next, big man?
Hey, we had some weird beefs going on last week. Ryan Day and Lou Holtz, that was a well-publicized one. We have another one for you, too. We'll start with Ryan Day. I'm sure you guys have seen the post-game interview, but he carried that intensity over into the post-game press conference, too.
Been emotional. The team will tell you that for the last couple of days. When I started hearing some of the things that we're saying, first off, it's not true. I don't know where people get off just saying things. It really upsets me. Put the film on. People make comments, and they don't watch film. Our guys are tough. They're physical. They do. They get after it. And they did it again tonight.
And you said that was Coach Holtz?
Come on. Yeah, it was.
Front row, Tim May on 3.
I don't know where he gets off saying those type of things. I don't. I mean, I have some other things I'd like to say, too, but I'm not going to say that because I'm more respectful than he is.
I like my man off to the side trying to move it along. Like, my guy knew that Ryan was ready to go on along, and he's like, Jerry Smith over here, really quick. Like, he wants to move it along.
How could Lou Holtz get you that mad? I mean, Lou Holtz is 100.
He's 86. I just looked it up.
I mean, what are we doing?
And I legitimately didn't know that he was
son
alive.
of a bitch, Lou Holtz, questioned our toughness?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I have to imagine Ohio State fans maybe fired up about that win. I mean, they did win. It's a good win on the road. They've lost to Michigan 2 years in a row. They're not in love with this guy anyway right now. For him to just make the rallying cry, effing Lou Holtz, who hasn't mattered in college football in 30-something years. In the last time we saw him, he was wearing a robe with Mark May on that stupid-ass college football final show with Reese Davis. Who cares what Lou Holtz thinks, man? It makes you look so petty and small to keep bringing up Lou Holtz.
I swear I had to check. I didn't realize he was alive.
I didn't either. 86.
What show is he on where he had a platform to talk about anything?
He apparently went on McAfee's show or something.
Oh.
And do they do that just to make fun of him?
I'm
not trying to be rude, but good grief. Who would care about Lou Holtz's perspective now? Is it 80s? Just because he's so far out of college football right now.
I love, like, at this time where you've got, like, Deion and the Colorado State coach, Jay Norvell, and you've got, like, real beefs with, like, middle-aged men in the prime of their lives versus this guy with an 86-year-old. I mean, it's insane.
I like that you think the two almost 60-year-olds are in the prime of their lives.
Hey, from my standpoint, they are in the prime of their lives. But seriously, like, the thing with Ryan Day is, like, did he tell the players what Lou Holtz said? And they're all like, "Who's Lou Holtz?"
Yeah.
No, they're like, "What? What did he say?"
I mean, it's not
what
like
did Ara Parsons say?
We know who Skip Holtz is, but who's
Lou? Is that his son?
Yeah. All right, Ben. What do we got?
All right, so that was one of our beefs. Here's the other beef. This one wasn't as publicized, of course. This is Jake Dickert. I believe that's how you say that. He misquoted Lee Corso. So he thought that Lee Corso said that Washington State and Oregon State is the Nobody Watches Bowl. But Lee Corso actually said it's the Nobody Wants Us Bowl. So
even better.
Jake
better.
goes on a big tangent about that after the game, throwing some shots at Lee Corso.
Damn.
Tough week.
There's a lot of noise out there. I mean, I caught something this morning, and I was just watching Game Day, and Corso comes on and he says, the No One Watches Bowl, and I don't really understand that. What's the merit once again? Because the facts say people watch the Cougs, and the people watch the Cougs more than every team that's left over in the Big 12.
You like watching Cougs.
Okay, so Coach Corso, he's at the point now where they give him the sheet and he reads off of it and they try to make a joke, but it didn't even make sense. Okay, it's well documented what ESPN has done to try to, get our league and to where it's at. And I would love to have a conversation with Coach Corso about the value that he sees in breaking up the premier West Coast Conference. Okay, and I'd also love to have a conversation with Coach Corso about how he thinks, student athletes and mental health and flying them all over the country is a positive thing. I'm open to those conversations.
Oh
man,
ooh,
it's a tough week for octogenarians.
It was a tough week.
You need a handler here, man. There is no good that could come out of attacking Corso in that way, and then moreover, you get conspiratorial too when you drop in the ESPN is the one that's the reason that your conference is disbanding. I mean, there's a lot going on there. Come on, my man.
But I get, like, if you're the coach of Washington State and everybody's left and you've got nowhere left to land, and you've actually got a good football team.
Yeah.
And the premier college football show is making fun of you.
Oregon State, the team they played, is a good football team too.
Right, and they beat Oregon State. And it doesn't matter. And and they have no future stable
it's frustrating,
future.
Corey, but you can't attack Corso.
Well, you can attack the message of ESPN's going to sit there and say he thought they said that no one watches this bowl.
Right, you better be right. You better know what the hell was said if you're going to use it.
Even if he said no one wants this bowl, it's like, well, again, the TV networks are the reason this is happening, so he can be frustrated by that. Don't make it personal with Corso and make fun of his age necessarily, but also ESPN has an 88-year-old man that they trot out every week.
No. Listen, I get all of this, and he's got to get all of that before he decides to bring it to bear.
I wonder if he used it in the locker room.
He brought this up. You better be sure of what somebody said.
I think the message, though, message about ESPN is something he really wanted to drill down.
That would be a great clarification. Where like Corso's like, guys, I didn't say nobody watches you. I said nobody wants you. Right. That's why you don't have a conference anymore.
So quit being a baby.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, but he talks out of both sides of his mouth because he says, Corso's at this age now where they're just handing him a piece of paper.
That's not great.
Don't attack him.
Then don't attack him. Right. Exactly. Then don't say, I want to have a conversation with Coach Corso about that.
Talk about ESPN.
You just said he's basically drooling in his pudding and they have to just hand him a piece of paper. So why are you going to have a conversation? So why are you angling all of this to go after ESPN. Don't go after
And there are
Corso.
plenty of us who think that maybe it's time for Lee Corso, and maybe it was time 5 years ago for Lee Corso to retire. I agree with that. I think you can make that case. But if you think it's ESPN handing them a sheet, attack ESPN, because that's who you wanted to attack anyhow, and it's a much better look than it is to go after an 80-something-year-old man.
I want a tag team match between Corso and Lou Holtz.
Oh, boy.
Against Ryan Day and Coach Dickert. Or maybe split them up.
I was going to say, what doesn't sound like much of a contest.
Not going to work out well. I mean,
be good grief. Bill Murray slammed Corso down 10 years ago.
The other thing to say here is that Corso's correct. Nobody wants Washington State or Oregon State. Nobody does.
I think I have a much bigger issue with Ryan Day. I think that is the dumbest looking thing I've ever seen a winning head coach do, is make fun of, or not make fun of, be real, like almost like he wants to fight Lou Holtz. Like Lou Holtz insulted my kids, and it's like these kids don't know who Lou Holtz is, and they don't care.
That game ended with one coach having 10 men on the field for 2 plays at the goal line, and he doesn't look quite as silly as the guy who won the
Ryan
game.
Day, if you saw him after the game, he's looking around saying, "Where's Holtz? Where's Holtz?" Like that's all he cared about. Like Jameis when they won the championship, wanting to go hug Coach Craig. That was Ryan Day. Where's Holtz? Give me Holtz.
I think Day's a little sensitive because of the back-to-back losses to Michigan.
Clearly.
Clearly. All right.
What's Schembechler saying about him?
What do we got here? What do we got?
Hey, we've got someone auditioning for the Coach Speak Hall of Fame right here with Minnesota coach PJ Fleck.
Here we go.
Next level stuff, guys.
Tressel taught me a lesson a long time ago. I asked him a question. I said, why do you coach college football? You know, you don't get much time with a head coach when you're a GA, especially when there's only one GA. He goes, good question. He goes, because you never know what's going to happen. And I was like, that's the greatest answer ever, but the scariest answer at the same time. So what makes us really enjoy it can scare the hell out of you at the same time. You know, and that's the enjoyment. That's what, when dealing with young people, that's why you do it. And things like this are really hard to take, but it's part of life. So is when you come home and your wife tells you she has cancer.
Oh,
so
my
is
God.
when your child dies. So is when your family's pet dies.
No.
Or when there's a divorce in the family. There are so many things that are really hard. And this program
Or when you
teaches
have a
them
home
to hit it
invasion.
head on. We are going to roll right through the storm. However long the storm takes, we're rolling right through it. We're not going
Guys,
around it.
like 9/11.
We're not
Katrina
jumping out of
was
the boat.
tough.
We're going right through it. And that's why it's so fun to work with young people. And I guess that's why Jim Tressel said that. So that's been the best, one of the best quotes and advice. I don't know if it was advice. He really just answered the question, but I took that advice.
It really wasn't advice.
But great question. So
And he didn't mean
we'll
it
get through
that
it. And they came in yesterday, positive attitude, and we look forward to meeting with a lot of them today. A lot of them guys are already in there, and then we'll come back and respond tomorrow.
I think Tressel was kind of like, man, keep
out
my
of my
name out of
room.
your mouth. Keep my name out of your mouth if you're going to bring up wife cancer after you lose to Northwestern.
No, and worse yet, he doubled down after the wife cancer and
It
said,
went to a
"Or
kid
your
dying."
kid died."
Or your kid dies.
What in the hell are you talking about? So it's the same. Hey guys, the unexpected in this game, it's a little bit like when your kid dies.
Yeah, you guys. When your son passes away.
And that's why we love the game so much.
Yeah, because you never know. That's why you love life, because you never know.
What? Some of us go through life, and the next thing you know, our wife has cancer.
Yeah.
But that's why you love life.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going.
You don't know.
It was the best advice. Well, it really wasn't advice, in fact.
Nope.
I don't know why I'm saying this.
I'm just get out of the room.
I'm just trying to fill time now because I'm tired of answering questions
It
about
just
why we lost.
Look, it sounded like a nonsensical answer to begin with, because he's like, why do you like college football instead of, I guess, the NFL was the premise. And he's like, because you never know. And I'm like, well, that's dumb because you don't know in the NFL either. But okay, finish your thought. And then he takes a real dark turn, which blowing a 21-point lead to Northwestern in the fourth quarter can do that to you. But it took such a dark turn where he went, wife has cancer, kid dies. And then he started to kind of peel back to like normal. What was the one after that? It wasn't nearly as bad. It was a pet dying.
Yeah, pet,
like
maybe
maybe
you
a
lose
pet
a hamster. Your hamster dies.
Yeah, which is that you go from a wife to a
Think
daughter
about
or son.
Corey, think of the through line here. He is trying to tell you that the reason that they coach college football is the unpredictability of coaching kids. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
It's not unlike when your wife gets cancer, your child dies, or your pet dies.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Those are the bad times.
About?
Those are the bad times, but there are good times when your wife doesn't get cancer.
Yeah,
and
it makes you appreciate
You got to focus
that.
on those. Yeah.
PJ.
That was
the
rough.
worst person that I thought you were, and I already thought you were terrible.
That was rough. That was rough. That was not a great look. That was almost as bad as what happened on Saturday. If you're a Minnesota fan, you're like, oh God, no.
This is
All
our
right,
head coach.
Ben, last one, whatever this one is, let's make it a good one. Here we go.
Yeah, I like how he also squeezed the row the boat analogy in there.
Yes, rowing through it. Rowing through it.
Come on, man.
There's some tragedies that you just got to find a way, and that's what you love about life. So,
honey, he comes home. His wife's like, honey, I've got cancer. And he's like, all right, we just got to keep rowing.
Well, you got a paddle. Get that paddle. Let's go. Your hands are a paddle.
Your dad died when the Twin Towers fell today. But that's the unpredictability of life.
Yeah, row through it.
You're just going to have to keep on keeping. That's why we love life.
So next up, guys, we've got Charles Huff, Marshall head coach. Marshall beat Notre Dame last year. They beat Virginia Tech last weekend. He's a Saban disciple, and he's kind of mastered the whole coach speak thing.
Here we go.
That 10, and two big ones coming up, homecoming next week, and then you go down to Raleigh the week after.
One game. We got one game on the schedule. Just trying to find a way to go 1-0 next week. And if they tell us we have another game, then we'll load up. After that, we'll load up. We got one more game. We got championship next week, man. End of the season. End of the world, actually.
End of the world.
But no. Yeah, you guys. I can get you guys. I'll come up here one day with a sad face, and you guys will hammer me with, why'd you call this on third down? But today, Herd win. Herd win today.
Okay.
I actually like
equating the end of the world with a football game. What are we doing?
I actually like Charles Huff a lot. He got a little over his skis there with the end of the world. This next game is Armageddon, guys. We have to win this game or we all die. It's the end of civilization.
I like and if they tell us they have another game, well, you have another game. You've seen the schedule. You've seen it. You have several more games. Don't give me
at least 8. You have 7 more after this, and probably a bowl if you keep winning, big guy.
Not if the end of the world happens on Sunday.
You think his kids think like that too? Like when they talk about the week after that, I guess they play NC State. They're like, no, nope. You're not talking about that, Joseph. We're only talking about this homecoming game. You heard Coach. 1-0 this week. We might not get to play next week.
Son, the only thing that matters is that you pass this test in English today.
Right.
There's no other class. There's no other year that you're going to be in school. If they tell you there's more schooling, fine. But for today, it's this test. You pass it or we all die.
And look, son, you might die today. And if you do, I'm going to row through it because I'm learning lessons from all these football coaches. I don't want you to do it, and I don't want your mom to get cancer. But things happen. Things happen.
That's why we love life.
Yeah, yeah.
We can never top. Nobody's going to top row the boat. Nobody's going to top.
That's crazy. That's the craziest one we've had, I think. Even going back to, it's just the craziest one we've had.
Do we have time for one more or no? Are we out?
If you got one more, Ben, we got to make it a quick one. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, we could make fun of James Franklin real quick.
Okay.
This is actually a good strategy, though. You hear about coaches pumping in the crowd noise and stuff. So Penn State's getting ready to play Northwestern.
I saw this.
Coach Franklin said he's not going to do that.
It's going to be very different than what we played in last week. So just being transparent and honest. Are we internally motivated or are we externally motivated? But for me to act like it's not a factor, it is, and you got to get prepared for it. We haven't had any music, even our period 20. You guys know we usually play the Phil Collins, and it's usually blaring. And they were asking me to turn it up today, and I said no. So just little things like that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about us executing our jobs and our assignments, and playing the game for each other, and playing the game for our love. For the game of football and for our teammates and playing up to our standard no matter the circumstances.
I'm going to assume that he means in the air tonight by Phil Collins. There's no chance they're playing Susu Studio.
I was going to say, or it could be Against All Odds. Might be the Against All Odds
Take
song.
a look at me now.
Yeah, that's a great jam.
We usually crank it.
One of the Disney movies. Win
an Oscar every year. Man, the context is that he was asked about blaring music because usually when you go on the road, you do that. And his answer was, "We're going to Northwestern." He even said they averaged 17,500.
Oh no!
So I love it. I think it's great. There's gonna be no crowd, so don't get used to don't even prepare for loud noises. Make it an internal week and not worry about external stuff.
You should have said, "Have you ever been to Northwestern?"
Yeah. It's only loud in the library. It's louder in the library.
And for the record, in our 20th period, we usually play She's an Easy Lover. And today we didn't do it. Today we didn't.
We just played the sounds of the Northwestern Library. A couple of shushes, and that was it.
Some pages turning in the background. The leaves are falling in the fall.
That is good. That is good. For Corey Clark and Ira Schoffel, I'm Jeff Cameron. Ben, great work as always, buddy. Be back with us next week on Coach Speak. Spread the word. Peace.